Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Guest. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bared Mind channel. And today, we're going to check in with the drinker and see what his thoughts is on the new Resident Evil game that was announced this past week. We're going to see what's going on with all the fraud, especially this most recent election in Los Angeles. And then we're going to get into some Nintendo Direct theories. We're going to try something new for the channel. Not something new for the internet, unfortunately, because nothing is new, except when it is. But yeah, let's get into it.
Gentlemen, Barry Burton's It Is Happening. Ever since they remade Resident Evil 4 a couple of years back, we've been speculating
Good
about
morning,
which
Veronica.
RE game would get the modern update treatment next. Because let's be honest, stuff like this is basically a license to print money, and
And it could have been basically three things. A lot of people thought they'd go the Resident Evil original and the Resident Evil 0 route because it's two right on top of each other, but two things about that. One, the Resident Evil 1 remake is pretty much a perfect remake. And there was no way that they wouldn't screw it up, because as great as the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes were, I have 40 minutes until I have to go. Oh, that's cool, dude. We'll burn through the best parts of it. But you won't get to be here for my wild speculation on the Direct. That's about it. But how are you doing, by the way? I know there's been a lot of activity over there. But they could have gone the Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0 route. And they kind of gave us a fake out, because the main two contenders were Resident Evil 5, which is V, and Resident Evil Code Veronica, which is one a lot of people were hoping for because they wanted that game to get the love it deserved, and the love that Claire Redfield deserves as well. Great character, especially in RE2. And since we get to expand so much on Leon, on what happens to him afterwards, we don't get to see Claire a whole lot. So this is the one chance, and they're doing it. But it was a nice sort of a fake out. I was R-E-V, and everyone's like, I don't remember that being in France, but okay. And then they did, Code Veronica for, normies that may not know the actual location of Resident Evil 5 for the remake. But it was good. It was a nice little tease.
Capcom has 30 years of Resident Evil titles to mine for content. Was it going to be another remake of RE1, taking us back to the Spencer Mansion for like the third time? Or were they going to move things along with Resident Evil 5 and give us the boulder punching finale we've been dreaming of for 15 years? Well, no, as it turns out. Not yet, at least. What we're getting instead is a remake of Code Veronica, the ill-fated Dreamcast title from all the way back in the year 2000.
With the worst relationship ever.
In a nutshell, the game follows Claire Redfield, who's searching for her brother Chris after he disappeared during the events of Raccoon City. Her search takes her to Umbrella headquarters in Europe. Where exactly in Europe? Don't know, doesn't matter. Anyway, she soon gets captured and shipped off to Rockfort Island somewhere in the South Atlantic, because it's rocky and it's got a fort on it.
Right.
I mean, what would you call it?
Anyway, wouldn't you know it, before Claire has a chance to play hide the soap in the communal showers, the place comes under attack from a mysterious enemy. She's released from her cell by a well-meaning guard and has to fight her way past the usual assortment of zombies and mutated bioweapons to escape the island and hopefully reunite with her brother. This being a Resident Evil game though, nothing's as simple as it seems, and pretty soon she's mixing it up with cross-dressing, mildly deranged aristocrats, a mysterious enemy back from the dead, and arguably the worst romance story since Rise of Skywalker.
Exactly.
Pretty standard stuff. Sort of, but I'll get into that shortly. Now, by the looks of the snazzy new trailer that just dropped at Summer Game Fest, Capcom are going for a more grounded, realistic experience this time around.
Which I'm here
Gone
for.
is the action pack.
And the best part is it's done by the same team that did the RE2 and the RE4 remakes. They're very well done, especially the RE4 one. RE2 was missing just a little bit, but it was well enough. The two playthrough system wasn't as different as it should have been. It was pretty much the same thing. You're just going in through a different door, and a little shorter.
Packed John Woo-style intro with Claire taking on a small army of highly trained Umbrella operatives, including a fucking attack chopper. As much as it was a cool way to open a Resident Evil game, it does stretch credibility ever so slightly that Claire was able to go from an untrained college student who's never thrown a punch in her adult life to a badass John Wick clone in the space of a couple of months. Replacing it is a much quieter, more mundane and believable opening, with Claire tracking her brother to a slightly dilapidated apartment that he's been renting in Paris. The creepy landlady is more than happy to show you around, but there's no sign of the Boulder King himself, and
Would you
before
like a
Claire
cookie,
has a chance
son?
to sample the fine French biscuits on
Just as long as she's not running around like old lady naked in the background, like on what was it, Chapter 2?
offer, she's been drugged, knocked unconscious, and dragged away by an unknown assailants. Wow, they really did capture the tourist experience of modern-day Paris, didn't they? Anyway, the
pretty
teaser's
much.
not giving too much away in terms of plot, characters, and gameplay just yet, but as an overall concept, I actually like what they're doing here, and I think Code Veronica, more than most of the older Resident Evil titles, would really benefit from a modern-day remake. For me, Code Veronica was always this weird little outlier in the series that didn't fit neatly into any particular Resident Evil era. An uncertain step in a new direction that couldn't fully commit to what it was doing, lacking the charm, atmosphere and detail of the older games with their gorgeous pre-rendered backgrounds, but unable to deliver the brutal action and intense moment-to-moment gameplay that started with Resident Evil 4 and never really let up. The graphics were fully
I mean, can you believe that Resident Evil 4 and Code Veronica were separated by one generation? The answer is yes. Back then, there were actual leaps and bounds between systems.
3D for the first time, but very much constrained by the limitations of the Dreamcast hardware, hence a shit ton of fog and darkness effects to hide the limited draw distance, bland, uninspired textures and simplified level geometry to keep the game engine ticking along, and cameras that were mostly still fixed in place but just able to pan around slightly and track your movements. It was a game that sacrificed graphical fidelity to present the illusion of spatial freedom without really delivering any of the advantages that should have come with it. Then there were the story and characters.
What he's saying is the updated version should actually be good. Unlike the Resident Evil 3 remake, which I'm still hoping they circle back around to, like Jin Saki.
See, up until then, Resident Evil had been grounded in a kind of science fiction horror template. Bioweapons research, evil corporations, espionage, unthinkable experiments gone wrong, that kind of thing. Yeah, it could definitely be weird and wacky at times, but it was always based around real, believable locations, factions, and people with understandable motivations and personalities. Umbrella might have had a questionable health and safety policy, but you could at least understand what they were and what they were trying to achieve. They're a pharmaceutical company, respectable on the outside, but behind the scenes they were dabbling in dodgy experiments they shouldn't have been, usually with disastrous results. It was a classic case of science gone wrong. Albert Wesker might have had a slightly flaky plan to lure his own team into a zombie-infested mansion and risk his own life just to gather combat data, but again, he was just a regular guy with very flexible morality, out to get a little something extra for himself. Code Veronica, on the other hand, made a hard swerve into gothic horror territory, with aristocratic families living in crumbling mansions, lore that now stretches back generations, an obsession with bloodlines and legacy, and monsters that feel more at home in a Bram Stoker novel than a Resident Evil title. It was all just a bit
I'm here for it, though.
much, and it didn't really fit with the theme and tone of the franchise up to that point, and it was all exacerbated by
And especially now that we've had Resident Evil Village, where we've had literal werewolves and vampires, I think it'll do just nicely.
hammy voice acting, cliched dialogue, and cartoonishly silly characters, even by Resident Evil standards.
My apologies, but I cannot let you escape now.
Is that Anne Hathaway?
Alfred, you cross-dressing freak!
Yeah, I'm not sure how well these lines are going to play with modern audiences.
It's gonna play great with me.
The game's always been like that slightly creepy uncle that nobody likes to talk about. The one who got involved in that funny business once upon a time, who's always kept at a polite distance and never gets invited to family get-togethers. All of this
Uncle
is to say that
Lenny.
I think Code Veronica, more than most, would really benefit from a complete ground-up overhaul. Because despite everything bad that I've said here, I think there is a good game that's been lurking deep inside it. A game that's been buried for like 25 years now. And maybe it's finally time for Code Veronica Veronica to get welcomed back into the Resident Evil family.
Yes.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
And I really do think that this one will do quite well. I know it's probably the weaker Resident Evil game to get a remake, especially of the 3 options that they had. But I'm glad that they did it. One, I never got to play through Resident Evil Veronica because I heard by all the people that liked all the original 3 how much they hated it. And then I heard by people when 4 came out how much the people who played those hated it. And it's got its own niche. Yet it's still somewhat beloved. I don't want to compare it directly to Majora's Mask for The Legend of Zelda, but it's something like that. Because you have people who think that, oh, Wind Waker's the best one, or Breath of the Wild, or Ocarina of Time. And then you have those who think that Majora's Mask is the best. It's a small but growing subsect. Anyway, let's get into the main story of the day.
Well, Spencer Pratt, 8,000.
Anyone not only surpassed this third place socialist has now not only surpassed Spencer Pratt, who won't be eligible to run for mayor, but is now actually passing Bass.
Which is the craziest part. Like, I completely understand. Look, conservatives in general, they don't do mail-in ballots because, honestly, mail-in ballots should only be done by people who are too old to get out and about, military members who aren't home where they can vote properly, government members who technically live in D.C. but have a home in the state to which they represent, and that's about it. That's about it. No one else should be able to do mail-in ballots because it's too easy to lose, too easy to get stolen, and too easy to fake, especially when you see how California does it. But let's continue.
Every single major dump, I believe, since Friday, we'll get to those numbers, have gone to one person, which is statistically not maybe impossible, but has never occurred anywhere else in nature. This pattern has never occurred anywhere in nature, just like the Joe Biden blip graph you've famously seen, right? But here, I want you to keep this in mind. Because the whole excuse that was used for 2020, when people said, how do the votes flip overnight? Donald Trump was winning the election. We went to sleep for 3 hours and every single state flipped. Their argument was, well, actually, this is all the mail-in ballots, guys, they're all going to be left. They're all going to be leftists because COVID. Because COVID. Donald Trump said, hey, you should vote in person. And the left, they were afraid, they wanted social distancing. So it makes sense that 100% of many, many vote dumps that were mail-in ballots went to Joe Biden. Okay. But how does that work in California now? Because we're seeing the same thing. Here was their excuse back then.
For many Americans across the United States, vote by mail is new. So I am joining in Leader Abrams' call for action and urging Americans across the country to get their ballots in and to get them in now.
Social distancing measures at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic boosted mail-in voting. More Democrats than Republicans embraced it during the 2020 and 2022 election cycles,
Because, of course, they did.
according to Pew Research surveys.
Democrats want states to expand early absentee and mail-in voting.
Have all the experts, both political...
I don't think that there should be early voting. Like, maybe the week of at most, but I really do think that Election Day or Voting Day should be a national holiday. And that's both of them. Because not enough people vote in the primaries.
Parties from academia laying out what it would take to have voting by mail. I'd much prefer to have in-person voting.
But most Republicans, including President Trump, don't like the idea.
No, it shouldn't be mailed in. You should vote at the booth, and you should have voter ID.
This is the same dynamic that we saw back in 2020 when states took longer.
This woman has an exoskeleton.
To vote. It looked like Republicans were doing better at the beginning. They
I
tend
loved
to
her
vote
in A Bug's
earlier. Their
Life.
votes tend to be counted just culturally, not even sure why, tend to be counted first. And then Once the votes that are already there legally are counted, it looks different.
Right.
Yes, that's way more simple than go to the place and vote that day.
Yeah.
How about this? Let's say mail-in voting. You could still do it in a way that wouldn't be that complicated. All right, let's say the national voting day, let's say it's November 4th, November 5th. Okay. You need to submit your mail-in vote by October 28th.
Yeah.
And then it will sit in a stack where they count all the rest of the votes, and you don't even know the difference between voted in by mail or in person, because they're counted at the same time. You have an advance date, due date, deadline, but when you vote by mail, would be really easy. The left opposes all of it. All of it, 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 all of it. Why? Well, let's go to California. So last Wednesday, the morning after the election day, here's what the race looked like in Los Angeles. Right, Karen Bass was at 34%. Spencer.
There is and there isn't. Well, in America, we have something called Real ID, which is where you bring in your birth certificate, your social security card, and all this other stuff, and you pretty much go through the process of getting a passport, where you get a little star on your license. But they expanded that to also include people who aren't citizens, which is fucking stupid. It is. I mean, it's stupid enough that non-citizens can have American driver's licenses that are the same and indistinguishable from ours. They should have, yes, if you're here for a prolonged period of time and you need to drive, you should be able to do so and have to pass. So you have to drive by our standards. If our standards are actually higher than other countries, it's not for a lot of countries. That being said, it's not supposed to be different, voter ID and normal ID, but it is because of so many states making exceptions for who can have an actual state ID. And it's because of these stupid people pushing stupid policy that end up with stupid results. And we now pretty much, for the voter ID that they're talking about now, it's basically a passport. Basically. But again, it only had to be this way because of all of what you see across the country, where California mostly is letting people who aren't citizens have CDL driver's licenses, and they're driving like they're back home, and they've been killing a lot of people on the highways, which is why I don't go anywhere.
Pratt was at 30.4%. Rahman was at 22.3%. That was with 60% of the votes counted. Okay? And check all the references. We make them available every single show, every day we stream, weekdays 11 a.m. They were so bad for Rahman that she actually cried addressing
she
supporters.
pretty much conceded.
And this was labeled as a concession speech, but then, oh wait, something mail-in voting. Don't trust your eyes.
I've been a candidate for something as long as you can remember. And you
Remember, this is the person who got really sad after an interview where they asked her actual questions because I didn't know it was going to be this hard. I thought it was going to be bike lanes and city streets. I didn't know I was going to have to answer for people who are suffering as the mayor of the second largest city in America. This is not a serious person. I don't care about her ethnicity. I don't care about her citizenship status. I don't care how long she's lived in the country. This is not a serious person. I wouldn't care if she was white, black, Asian, if she had been here for generations, her family. I don't care. She's not a serious person. She's a person who lives in the hills. She's a person who lives in the suburbs. She's basically the head of your HOA, but she wants to run the whole town. That's Nithya Raman.
you've had to live through it with me, and you've been.
In Israel, we can only use your normal ID or the passport to vote. You can't use driver's licenses. Well, and that's the thing. Our driver's licenses is our normal ID. For most people, they do have state-issued IDs that don't let you drive. But again, they give people who aren't citizens the very same types of driver's licenses when... yes, they should be able to have driver's licenses so they can conduct their business while they're here, but it should be notably different. No exceptions.
so patient through all of it. Thank you.
If anyone's ever seen Weeds and remembers what the parent-teacher, the PTA meetings was like, that's what this reminds me of. This person should just be on the head of the PTA at a very elitist school. That's the vibes it's throwing me. Agreed.
How incredibly lucky we are. How incredibly lucky we are to be in this together. Thank you all so much.
Because she knows what's coming. I'm completely convinced. The fact that only she got any votes, really, of the last 40% that was done by mail-in ballot. I don't care that she beat Spencer Pratt. I was expecting that, honestly. But the fact that Karen Bass also didn't really get any votes out of the final 40% is pretty damn telling.
Well, fast forward to Sunday night, things change.
Well, Spencer Pratt had been in second place since election night, but that all changed with the very latest ballot drop this afternoon.
And here's a look at the new numbers. Raman gaining about 19,000 votes in today's drop, vaulting her ahead of Pratt, who only got another 9,000. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass was already projected to make the general election, and her campaign has already put out a statement within minutes of the latest ballot drop attacking Raman.
This is the first major shift we have seen in days, with Nithya Raman moving one step closer to the November ballot.
Well, it seemed like I think it was CNN labeled it, Mission Control can fact check me, a concession speech. She's definitely going to be in the running, and she's going to be able to run. Pratt won't. By the way, Kalshi was way ahead of the game. To give you an idea, Raman passed Pratt in the Kalshi odds last Thursday afternoon. She now has a 40% chance to win the general election in November.
Well, it's because all these people put in last
the betting odds always
after
give you a
time
pretty
votes.
good idea. Now, just to be clear, they are not meant to be any type of a moral judgment. It's just telling you where the money is going. So, is this just the way that you should expect elections to go? Right? Day of, you have a pattern, and then completely erase, etch a sketch, shake it? Or does it seem like maybe someone has their thumb on the scale here? Okay. We'll go through each point. You can check the references. Here are the reasons you should probably be skeptical of the elections in California. Raman isn't just winning with the mail-in vote. So since we first started reporting on the results Wednesday morning, bring this up, Raman was at plus 80, or she gained 85,000 since then?
Yeah, she gained more than Bass.
She gained more than Bass, that's right. Bass gained 78,000. Sorry, the graph is a little bit small. Pratt, 41,000. Since Friday, check these references here. Raman has won every single dump.
That's crazy.
How is this even possible?
What the f***, guys? Seriously? Is anyone buying this? She was well in third place.
Yes.
Every single dump since Friday. But especially if all of these were supposed to be submitted, right? Yeah. Before. In other words, it's not like people are voting after Election Day.
No,
right?
of
That
course
would be
not.
absurd.
I mean, it happens.
So for some reason, everything that was counted that could be observed, well, we were here live talking with you. But now actually, all of these people who you didn't know about, every single one of these dumps went for.
I mean, the dates were checked by that blind lady we saw in the video. What was it, yesterday or was it Friday?
This candidate who was wildly unpopular.
Yeah. And not Bass. Bass, fine, she's beating Pratt, fine. But you're telling me more people are mailing in ballots for her than showing up on Election Day and voting for her?
Well, speaking of which, she didn't even win her own city council district when you're talking about Election Day. Bring that up. It's Collage B10.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
The only reason.
Oh, wow. That's... Damn.
The explanation is that the plan was remove the Republican.
Yes. Exactly right.
Because it's California, and the same people who are conducting the fraud that was brought to light over the last few months are the same people in charge of the elections.
This would be the first time that's happened. By the way, Spencer Pratt did chime in on these anomalies. He wrote, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes since Tuesday. 43,000, huh? Where have I seen that number before? Probably nothing, alluding to the fact that it's exactly 43,000 homeless people. 43,600 something. He's good.
I hope he still continues with this. I mean, he will be moving to Arkansas, apparently. Best of luck there. You're probably going to move to Fayetteville, which sounds good at first, but then you realize there's only like 100,000 people there. And that's in the whole, not quad, quid city area. Is that what you call? No, that is quad. The 4-city area. It's Rogers, Fayetteville, Springdale, and Bentonville.
Yeah. How? Just here's what happens. You'll ask how. The left will say, "Don't ask how." Well, can we look at it? It's too late. It's done. Okay. Well, for the next time, can we make sure that we can ask how beforehand? Well, you can't do it beforehand because you won't know until it's done. Yeah, but right now it's done. And you won't let me do anything. That's right, racist. There's no way. There's no way to fix it because the left refuses to. That brings us to point number 2. The entire system in California is broken by design. By design. Bring this up, collage B3. Yeah, there you go. Remember, the final tally is not expected until July 2nd, potentially.
Serious. July 2nd. A month. A month. It takes California longer to count votes than it does the entire rest of the country.
July 2nd.
So there's a chance Pratt could still make it.
Right.
No,
yeah, no.
But we don't do that because we assume.
Right. All the dumps are going to be for someone other than Pratt. Was doing great on the day.
I bet all the fires were
the most popular person in the race. It's not that person either. It's
Pratt was doing surprisingly well on the day. Yeah. But all the other times, what would you expect? Would you expect it to be within striking distance of what we saw same day? Why would you think that? Why are you all so unreasonable?
Socialists only vote by mail. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, don't you know? It's because of COVID. So the left votes by mail.
Especially
what about
if they're
now?
voting from
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
They just vote by mail
Especially if they're
now,
voting from Pakistan.
too. But why? Because they do.
I also typically attribute dumps to Indians, though.
It could be, yes. Yes, this is true. So, July 2nd, which, by the way, makes sense when you actually see who they have counting in California.
1, 2, 4. Banjo 6.
Got him.
No joke. I would sooner trust him with the elections.
I know too.
Yeah.
At least he's honest. He's got an honest face.
Indeed.
Flash Crowder. Use the promo code Crowder for 20% off your first order and try the new exclusive Strange Animal Brew. Yes, I chose the beans. It is the blend that we drink.
And he flicked them.
Here's the thing, like I said,
Got
okay,
the
if
weirdest
mail-in voting. By the way, you have to do this when you used to vote absentee. I don't
commercials
remember exactly
ever.
what it was, but you had to vote well ahead of Election Day so that it would count. That's not what's happening right now. Mail-in votes can be counted as long as they were postmarked by Election Day and received by June 9th. Yes, meaning they have to have been received by tomorrow. You have to time cop your fucking vote. As long as the votes are received by, today we're June 8th, tomorrow, that's the cutoff, guys. What?
That is absolutely insane because people can literally see the election results the day of and then be like, oh, everyone vote for Nitya Raman. Which is basically what happened.
It's normal.
You can mail as long as it's postmarked by the day
You're
after the
supposed to
election.
just look at this and go, yeah, fine, I accept
What
it.
are we doing?
And by the way, in case you're also so there's that, but at least they're
Once they start once they start publicly releasing the counted votes, no one should be able to vote anymore. No one should be able to postmark their shit.
really strict with the ID in California, right? So even though it could be postmarked, your vote could come in tomorrow, which, by the way, postmark means you can just mark it pretty much however you want. That's not that hard to do. And then, you know, someone could vote yesterday or today.
How many votes do you need?
Yeah, how many do you need? That'll determine. Also, that makes it a lot easier when you can just register with, I don't know, in California, check the references, a gym membership card, a prescription drug label. That's allowed. That's allowed as a form to register to vote. A prescription drug label. I am amazed at the lack of security on prescription. Anyone,
Yes.
one time, after
My
surgery, I was
name
like,
is
hey, can I have
Yef
someone go pick up? They're like,
Johnson.
yeah, go pick it up. Like, anyone?
No ID need.
Like, do I need to approve them? Like, no, they just say, if they know that your prescription, they can just take it.
Yeah, all these psych meds.
My name is
here's your ballot.
So I just went to every pharmacy and asked for the refill on the Percocets for Bob Smith, and I have a gold mine.
No, he's kidding.
There's a few Bob Smiths.
Yeah. I am kidding. You can also vote with an insurance card in California. An insurance card. Gym membership card, prescription drug label, or insurance card.
You know, things that don't have pictures on them.
They tried to make the gym membership card look fancy. Pull that back up. Health club identification card.
Yeah.
Just say gym membership and everybody raises their hand and goes, wait a minute, hold on, we can't do that, right?
Right.
But a health club identification card where something went into that.
Yeah, because you know that the folks at Planet Fitness, they know how to look for fake ID.
Yes, exactly right.
And word is for the upcoming general election, they will also be accepting death certificates. Yeah. Now, remember...
It's a very old reference.
Think of this. When people talk about it being built
gym
in,
memberships.
People go, well, insurance, and you're thinking of you.
And this is what I'm saying. You can use... you can use non-picture ID to vote. I mean, I'm sure they even accept fake IDs, just like my local alcohol store back in the 90s. Can you even buy alcohol with gym membership card? No. No. It has to be... See, and that's the thing. For a lot of things, you have to have your driver's license to buy alcohol, to buy cigarettes, to buy weed, if it's legal in your state. I don't even know how many times... I asked for my driver's license to get into a bar, to get into, I think, concert. It's been a long time, but there's a lot of things that you actually need your actual state ID to do in America. To get a gun, you know that thing that lefties don't want people to do. Which is like the main thing that I agree with conservatives on is gun ownership. I don't own any, but I think people should have the right to own it legally because most crime is committed with illegal weapons, or stolen weapons.
You're thinking of you, the law-abiding citizen. Now remember, the goal of the left.
But no,
is
you don't
turn
need all that to
law-abiding
vote. It's
citizens
just
into a
voting. I
criminal.
mean, what's voting
Gun
anyway?
ownership,
It's the most important thing in
not
America.
paying
But what even
taxes,
is that?
Driving the wrong vehicle, carbon offsets, whatever it is. And they want to turn the felonious class into a voting base.
It's like the same thing as in a lot of states, you have to get your vehicle inspected before you get your registration renewed. But if your car's an antique, you don't have to get it inspected. I would think that that's the ones you most specifically would need to get inspected. I'm glad you don't. That way I don't have to get my vehicle inspected every year anymore because I drive an old vehicle like all those guys I used to make fun of when I was young. But our laws are so ass backwards. The brand new cars, I mean the ones that were built with all the current environmental causes in mind, those have to be inspected, but the ones that were built before, in the before time, those don't have to be inspected. Again, I don't care because I really don't like getting my vehicle inspected anyway because it's stupid and platitudinal.
So you look at insurance, you go, well, I needed to go through quite a bit to get my insurance card. Yeah, but in California, remember, providers, they can provide free health coverage to illegals in California. California itself is the provider, free health care to illegals. So it's not hard. You can be an illegal immigrant by law, illegal alien by law in California and have some form of insurance proof. And then they include that as that works, good enough to vote.
Yeah, and LA Fitness isn't discriminating against Venezuelans.
No, they're not.
You can go get a gym membership, look at people on the Stairmaster, and then go vote.
Yep, pretty much.
You don't have to be a citizen for that.
That's pretty much all I do. I just sit outside of the Pilates class and go, yeah, get more of a stretch, I said.
Well, it's an all-male class, but...
Well, I admire the form.
Why do they have bleachers there?
Point number 3. Oh, they got puppies on scene. Point number 3.
Did they vote?
Yeah, did those puppies vote?
Like, ain't nothing in the rule book.
Look at these. These are going to determine
Stanley Pup.
They're going to determine the district Simi Valley.
Look, here's my vet
It's the next
insurance
entry
card.
in
That is pretty
Airbud.
adorable, though. That dog has a stuffed
Airbud 6 Stanley Pup.
hockey stick toy. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die from the cuteness.
That is damn adorable.
How great would it be if one of those dogs just cross-checked the other one?
Yeah, I want to see that fight.
Him raising his head in the blue light. Oh.
2-minute. Point number 3, Sid. Now on my brain.
Sorry.
California is doing this on purpose.
There are few cuter things than puppies and kittens that don't live in your house because they piss and shit everywhere.
By the way, they have been stonewalling any and all forms that would strengthen their integrity of their elections. Reasonable things. So, no federal audit of their voter rolls. They want none whatsoever.
They've literally made
None
it
whatsoever.
illegal.
So the federal
audit
investigators want to know if California
their
is complying with
elections.
the laws that prevent.
California passed a law saying that the federal government cannot audit their elections. What are we doing? Look, I understand that they shouldn't be able to sway your elections. I don't like when the president of either side says, "Oh yeah, I want that guy to win the the governor seat or the mayoral seat or whatever." I don't like that either. But if there's suspected fraud in your state, which there is, California is one of the 3 most states with the most fraud in the country. I think it might actually be number 1, just based off population. Minnesota is crazy that how much it has for its population base, because the North sucks, but especially in the middle. But I mean, no, we can completely trust you, right? We can't for anything else, but for this, absolutely.
Non-citizens from voting in federal elections, right? Because this is what they always say. We don't need Voter Right National to Save Act. The states determine it, and our state's laws ensure the safety. So the federal government goes like, well, okay, since your votes in national elections affect people in Iowa, in Texas, in Michigan, we need to make sure that you're not just selling their votes to illegals in your state. No, not allowed. We're not looking to change. We're just looking to investigate. Nope. They opposed it, California, on privacy grounds. Privacy grounds, and the groups opposed to the audit include, but are not limited to, no surprise. Here, look, take a guess. Which organizations do you think would be opposing integrity audits for elections? Correct. Just comment below, pause it.
SPLC?
Yep, the ACLU, the NAACP, and of course the League of Women Voters of California.
That's right. The what?
That sounds like the worst superhero group of all time. The League of Women Voters of California. Together they are... No.
I'm sorry. Hopefully
thanks for finishing that.
Sorry.
Well, before you wrap this up, Stephen, I just want you to know that one of your favorite people disagrees with you on this.
I don't want to do this.
You have to. You have to. Harry has a different opinion.
Okay.
This is the dumbest conspiracy theory I have ever heard, because the Democratic establishment and Karen Bass wanted Spencer Pratt in the runoff. They don't want any part to do with Nithya Raman. Why is that? Because just take a look here. Okay, mayor runoff polls, Bass versus opponent. Look at this. Versus Pratt. Bass would have crushed Pratt by 18 points. That's what the polling showed. Look at how she does against Nithya Raman, on the other hand. Raman is ahead by 4 points. Bass has a real race on her hand if, in fact, Raman is the one who advances.
No one is saying it's Bass.
No, yeah, don't say Bass.
Yeah.
Orchestrating this.
No one's like Bass.
No.
I know what I'll do.
No one thinks that race and gender swapped. Oh God, what's his name? Hold on. Al Franken. Jesus. No one thinks that race and gender swapped Al Franken, that being Karen Basul, is orchestrating all this. She's an idiot. She is literally the worst. It's all about who you know. And apparently she knows witches, because that's the only way this person could have ever been elected.
What we're saying is California and the powers that... Does anyone actually think that Joe Biden was running the country?
No.
Show of it. Comment below. Anyone think? No. Right? But the reason that they wanted him to run again until it became undeniable as far as his degeneration was he was easy to just sort of have as a frontman. They could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
California, the state of California, the legislators, the assembly in California, they absolutely do not want a Republican for the same reason that they don't want any type of audits.
And this is, look, you can like Trump, you can hate Trump. But the reason that I don't think that he actually did anything in the Epstein files, or that he's no more guilty than any of the people squawking about him, is because Biden was in the office for 4 years. If they really didn't want Trump to be president again, all Biden had to do was release the Epstein files. in the 4 years that he was in office. Now, you can always argue Trump hasn't released the whole bit. Sure, whatever. But he released a lot of it. A lot more than we already had. I would dare say a majority, most of it, is out. But that's the main reason that I don't think that he did anything, at least as far as Epstein is involved. Hey, shapeshifter, Barry. But that's my main thing about that. Like I said, love Trump or hate Trump, you have to look at actual occurrences. And the facts on the street, on the ground as they are, is Trump was the one that reported Epstein. Trump was the kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago or whatever it is. There are rumors that Trump was a government asset against Epstein. I don't know how true that is. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed, but I won't say 100% just because I don't know off the top of my head 100%. But again, if they really didn't want him up for re-election, because they knew he was going to run in 2024, if they really wanted him to lose, instead of changing all these laws in states like New York so that they could prosecute him past whatever the cutoff is for the laws at the time, and then they changed those laws so that they could prosecute him for these things. I mean, they would have released the files. Just 100%. They would have. They had enough sway in all the things. But they didn't do it. Why? Because either they're just as guilty as he is, or he's not guilty at all, at least of this, at least when it comes to the Epstein files themselves. And again, I don't think it exonerates him completely, but I think the new Nintendo Direct, yes! We're what, 2 hours away? 2.5 hours away? So excited. Sure I'm going to be like, hey, I need a 30-minute break. I know I've only been here for an hour, but I need a 30-minute break so I can watch this.
No one who will hold California accountable. That means mission number one, get rid of Republicans. I don't think that those in positions of power really care if it's Rahman or Bass. They just want to ensure that it stays California. So that's the stupid. No one's saying it's coming from Bass.
Right.
Just like no one was saying that it was Joe Biden who was like, find 50,000 more votes. No one was saying that.
Yeah, what he should have said was the DNC had a plus 18 chance of beating Pratt in the general election. Now the DNC has a 100% chance of winning the election.
But very good. I think that's a really good point. But let me even grant his argument for just a second. You telling me that the Democrats would never do something within their own party to screw somebody out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Call Bernie Sanders and ask him how that went, okay? They may hate Bass. I have no idea. Either way, it's still a problem for me.
Right. By the way, that's what they did with Joe Biden. They did it with Joe Biden. They were keeping him in there. Joe still wanted to stay in until like, you gotta go. You gotta go now. Like we were really glad to have an empty suit like you for a while.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna lose guaranteed. We'll take our chances with anyone else, and you have to drop out so that the money can go to Kamala.
Yeah.
They did the same thing to Joe Biden. They are bigger than the individual. One of the rare exceptions is President Donald Trump because he was rich before he went in. So he's able to call more shots. Not entirely, but certainly more than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
What California is doing is what the left wants.
Which is the main reason
for all time.
I'm okay.
If we're at the point, if a United State is at the point where they could take pointers on election integrity from Mexico or Colombia, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, when you got Kristen Welker on Meet the Press saying, well, that's just how they count their votes. That's just how they do it. They said it'll be slower. How is that acceptable to you?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is that an excuse? You're saying it like it's acceptable to be worse than Colombia.
Right.
To be worse than Mexico. It's insane.
It'd be like, how did you learn to tie your shoes? Did you learn to do the loop or the bunny ears?
Bunny ears.
I don't remember.
Okay. But, you know, that's
loop,
kind of
swoop,
two
and
major
pull.
ways. Right. So it'd be like a new way of teaching kids, like, okay, you did either the loop around or whatever they call it, the loop or the bunny ears. Comment below how you learned to tie your shoes, by the way, because it's actually a bridge I'm gonna have to cross pretty soon. You can only do Velcro for so long, and then you go back to the old man. But okay, bunny ears or loop de loop, whatever it is that they call it. All right, it'd be like your kids going to school and now they're teaching them how to tie their shoes. Only instead of those two, which there were varying degrees of efficiency. I guess some people prefer one or the other. In teaching your kids how to tie
I like to
their
be a
shoes,
part of
every
things.
single
Shut
time,
up.
They have your children take the laces off their shoes and then relace them and tie them. you're like, well, why are you doing that? He doesn't need to take the laces off his shoes every single time. That's just how they do it. Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense, though. It's a less efficient way. And by the way, there's a greater chance of error because every time you relace them, you might miss a spot. You might
there's
crisscross
holes missed.
them.
Yeah.
No, but why? That's just how they do it. Okay, great. For the longest time, we did our elections bunny ears. And California decided, no, we're actually going to take off the laces and replace them every single time that we have our kids tie these shoes. And, you know, it's going to be the same result.
I mean, you want them to look nice. They keep walking through mud and shit.
More errors. Why are you questioning them doing it? Because we did the bunny ears for a long time and it worked. It worked. It works better. Oh, you're still here and you're still watching this?
I mean, that's not the best. Oh, that's not the best metaphor. Is that the word I'm looking for? But okay, sure. But anyway, go support the Crowder. They do a lot of good work over there. All right, so that's the end of the regular news. If anyone wants to join us on this Nintendo Direct journey, we're going to watch a little bit of Arlo and do some speculating of our own.
Oh, my friends, it is finally upon us after an agonizing 9-month wait.
God, has it been 9 months? Like, I know we had the Indie Showcase and the little Star Fox Direct that they had, which was great in itself.
We have a regular good old-fashioned full-blown Nintendo Direct happening tomorrow. At the time of this recording, it is Monday, and tomorrow, Tuesday,
The guy looks
at
like
7
if Andy
a.m.
Serkis was
Pacific
Japanese.
Time, which is my time. It's the real thing. It's the real deal. It's finally here, and it's a dangerous situation to be in. You know, to say that expectations are high.
Or if the guy from the
would
Full
be an
Monty.
understatement. It really would. You know, the last September Direct, it wasn't terrible.
Hey,
but
we'll see you,
it did
Yunuka.
not
Be
quite
safe out there,
deliver on
bud.
the level we were expecting, and then to not even have one in February. So now it really is just like, all right, Nintendo, like we're here, we're sitting at the table. I think I made this joke last time or sometime recently, but like the plate's empty. We got our fork and our knife and our bib on our tucked in our collar, and we're just like, all right, like we're holding like
I am very
style,
excited about this
the
one.
fork and the knife
This one's going to be nice.
What do you got for us,
I
man?
am. I'm
We got a
expecting
couple
at
of
least
medium-sized
one, maybe
titles
two
lined up for the next few months,
Legend of
but
Zelda
nothing
things.
major, nothing big for the holiday season, nothing for 2027. Right now,
I think they're going to start with a small update on Star Fox. They might show us a little bit more. They might show us a little bit more that's going to be in the game. Or just, you know, a little actual gameplay. They're going to show us one thing that they're doing here different. They're going to show us that they're bringing back the stupid little walker thing. One of a million things, or they're going to show us just something. They're going to show us something because at this point in time, I think Star Fox is, just a couple of weeks away?
now the schedule is pretty much open. All eyes are on Nintendo to deliver, which, yes, again, it is a dangerous situation because it means hopes are high. It means pretty much across the board, hopes are going to be high. More than ever, Nintendo kinda has to deliver unless they want a whole bunch of internet complaining. I know. Nothing is worse than internet complaining. How will they survive?
Yeah, it's
However,
just
in all
tragic.
seriousness, though, like, yeah, it's true that people complaining online. Like, Nintendo really doesn't care that much about that. But, like, vibes really do impact their stock prices because, like, investors, like, they can feel the same way. If they feel like Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing, then that can have an impact on their stock price. You know, they can start selling off their stuff. Like, we need confidence. You know, like, Nintendo does need to breed confidence. That doesn't mean eternally pleasing all of their fans and customers, but it does mean keeping up the appearance that the Switch 2 is going well and it's going to have momentum and all that stuff. So yeah, kind of a lot is riding on this one. And I have spoken with the wind. I have consulted the wind, and
so he farted and talked to it.
Kind of a feeling of which way it's gonna go, but I'll talk more about that like at the end. First, let's go over my just regular old predictions. You know, obviously there are the predictions that I have already made in the yearly predictions video in December, January, or whatever. By now, I can barely even remember what I predicted for this year. But you know, before each presentation, it's fun to do a whole new set of predictions. What do I think is going to happen tomorrow? Let me go down the list. Honestly, though, I don't have a lot of wild swings for you. If I have any wild swings, they probably were in the predictions video. Here, some more safe bets.
I do like how
First,
feathery
it's something
Falco
that
is.
I've predicted before. Plenty of people have predicted before. Plenty of rumors. It just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Super Metroid remake. I don't know. It feels so inevitable. You know, there is part of me that really hopes that instead.
And look, I'm not expecting it to be super crazy when it comes to Super Metroid remake. I'm sure it'll actually happen. I think it'll actually be a stealth drop if they do something like that. If they do a Super Metroid remake or what's the or the original, the Zero Mission. If they do a Zero Mission remake in the same graphics as the last oh god, what was the Metroid for the Switch? The original Metroid style, the Metroidvania style, like those crisp graphics and the smooth gameplay. I think they'll do. Is it Deception? No, not Deception. Oh shit! Hold on. I know. I'm looking way too into this. What's the name of the Metroid game that came out on the Switch? Metroid Dread. It'll be like that kind of animation, a remake of either Super Metroid or something like Zero Mission, because they already did Samus Returns on the 3DS, and even though I know that's not really accessible for a lot of people, it's there. I really hope it's a new...
They're working on Metroid 6, you know, after waiting all of these...
I think they'll mention Mario, but I think it's going to be mostly Zelda-focused. They might... I'm pretty sure the one more thing might be either another Mario or a banger Legend of Zelda drop, or that's when they're going to announce the Ocarina of Time. Like, it's not something that we all already know.
Years, it'd be really nice to continue the story, but at the same time, I really could see them doing kind of a pattern. You know, they remade Metroid 2, and then going into a brand new title, and then okay, let's do a little bit, you know, kind of a lower budget, little cheaper. Safe in its own kind of way, Super Metroid remake. And then if that goes well, then maybe we'll roll into another brand new title. I don't know, but yeah, I certainly hope.
Remake Zero Mission.
Instead, but Super Metroid, I don't know. It just makes sense.
Super Metroid does make the most sense because they haven't remade it yet.
Sense to me. I think tomorrow they're going to finally announce a Super Metroid remake for September. And then they will also announce at that time...
I think if they announce a Metroid, I think it'll be a stealth drop. I think it'll be... And it's coming out right now. Go buy it.
That Metroid Dread is getting a free update for, you know, just better...
I don't think it'll be free.
Whatnot. Mainly just a higher resolution when played on Switch 2. I'd love 120 FPS. I mean, like... Is that unrealistic? I think that could... Yeah, no, sure. There you go. Yeah.
I will say the Metroid games, especially in that style, should be higher resolution.
120 FPS, 4K visuals.
And also, and I'm saying it right now, I don't think it'll happen, but I think that they'll do a Castlevania remake and they'll team up with Konami and they'll drop them both within the same year. If they don't stealth drop them both.
On Switch 2.
I'm calling it.
Update. That will go live today, and then Super Metroid will come in September.
Wait, what did he say?
That will go live. 4K visuals on Switch 2.
Oh, okay.
Update. That will go live.
The free update will go live today.
And then Super Metroid will come in September.
See, we both think that something will drop today, and I really do think that.
They will announce a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Switch 2 edition. This is another thing that's been thrown around a whole lot. I myself have probably predicted it once or twice. It's such a popular game. And it's got so much content, and I think it's very possible that we're not going to be getting a brand new Smash for maybe a few years.
Yeah, I don't think we need a new Smash until next generation, but they do need to do something with this one to where it'll be worth updating. Maybe announce a few more characters. I know my amiibo shelf is full too. Damn it! Actually, the only amiibo I have out are my Legend of Zelda ones, but.
I mean, we could just as easily get one announced at this presentation right here. Or we could get one next year. I don't know. It's totally possible. But re-releasing, repackaging the game for Switch 2, it's just such a good opportunity. It's just such a good money-making opportunity. I think this is going to be basically the same as the Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch 2 edition, where it's a very small upgrade, relatively speaking. It's going to cost like $5, and they are going to like introduce a whole bunch of like smaller like new features, little tweaks to the gameplay, not sure, maybe mostly just to the options and features, some nice thoughtful little quality of life features, maybe some that people have been asking for, and then of course higher resolution and Once again, 120.
I really hope it's new mainline. True, but it has been 8 years since the last Mario. But I think like this year's the Zelda anniversary. But then they didn't really do anything for the Mario anniversary, which is always tragic. I really miss Mario. What was it, 35? 25, whatever it was.
If the original could look that good and have that many players and still maintain a stable 60 FPS, I think they could probably pull off 120 FPS on Switch 2. So yeah, the good news is that this will be another cheap, kind of no-brainer upgrade for owners of the previous version, but then the bad news is it's not going to include any of the DLC. I think it's too much DLC, like it is. Like all together, what's it, like $55 to buy all the DLC? Like just about the price of buying the base game, so I really do not.
No, I can see them bringing it back out. It should include all the DLC, and I would say it should be maybe a $70 or $80 title if they do it that way. But then again, Nintendo surprised us before. Not a lot, but I think it should be a $60 game, and it should have all the DLC, or maybe just an expansion with a new game mode. But I don't know. I think they should do the full Switch update, though. The full Switch 2 thing, and make it like $20 to update it if you already own it for Switch, and it includes everything. I don't know if it really needs a full, like he's talking about, like a full of its own.
See Nintendo packaging all of that together into like an $80 bundle. Partially greed, perhaps, but I also know that all these, these DLC characters, so many of them are licensed characters, which probably comes with, it's probably one reason why the DLC costs so much. They got to pay licensing fees.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really
no, that 100% is the main thing.
Together in like a $20.
I can, for the same reason that Steven Spielberg was able to make, Ready Player One. Because they have that kind of weight to fling their junk around.
A bonus kind of thing. So yeah, you'll still have to buy the DLC separate, but it will still be cool, and that will be coming out in October. So at that point, we'll have something good for September and good for October. And then in this presentation, they will also give us a brand new Splatoon Raiders trailer. This will probably be a much more in-depth, maybe even like an overview trailer. Like it's coming pretty soon. But at the end of that, we're going to get a tease for Splatoon 4 scheduled for next year. It'll be, a pretty vague kind of thing. Mainly
Are we at 4 already?
Teaser. Like it's just like a little lore teaser. The characters will do some little thing, some little tease, and it'll be like, 2027.
I like Splatoon. I don't know how we're at 4 already.
We won't get any more than that, but that'll still be pretty cool. And maybe we will get more. Have more revealed at the September Direct, but I don't know, can't get ahead of myself here. We're talking about tomorrow, and then we come to the big one. The big reveal in this presentation, probably the reveal to close out the show.
The one that we've known.
Holiday title. It's coming out in November. It's the only game in the universe brave enough to go head-to-head with GTA 6. Nintendo could not care less. They live in their own little world, so we're getting a game in November, and you know what it is? You know what it's going to be. Ocarina of Time remake. I know it's not the most creative prediction. It's what the rumors have been saying, and yet for me, in a sense, I'm kind of going out on a limb. A little bit, because there is still part of me that is kind of skeptical of this idea, and mainly, I talked about it a whole bunch in a video. Like, my problem with it is, like, I feel like it's not really worth doing unless it's a really humongous remake that just kind of reimagines a whole bunch of it, completely rebuilds the whole world, really turns it into a big modern experience. And that's just not the kind of thing that Nintendo has done before for like their 3D games. We haven't had like this enormous AAA modernization of a 3D game, especially a game like Ocarina of Time, such a beloved classic. It's hard for me to believe that they would do that because there's no precedent for it, and that is why I am predicting it. And that's why, like, I feel like I'm going against my better judgment and saying, okay, like, yeah, it would be unexpected, but that's why I'm predicting it. I think they will. I think they will announce full-blown Ocarina of Time remake, but like the full thing. This is not Ocarina of Time HD. You know, this is not a remaster. This is a ground-up remake. It will be very, very faithful in all the right ways, but of course they're going to be making a lot of changes. They're going to be bringing in a lot of modern ideas and just kind of, I don't know, just kind of making a better version of the game. It's still 80-90% the original. The heart and the soul are still there. But it is going to be a real remake. Here's a way to put it. It's going to look good enough. It's going to look like enough of a remake that you don't get that thing that you usually do with, like, you know, these much safer remakes and remasters that Nintendo tends to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're so faithful, they're not super duper ambitious, that a lot of the audience is just like, I own this game already. So, like, if this isn't really offering that much of a...
I didn't feel that way with the 3DS remakes. I thought it was different enough. I just wanted it to look better and maybe play just a little more crisp. But overall, it was pretty good. I will say, I also think that there's going to be another Zelda announcement. I don't know if it's going to be a stealth drop of maybe either Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, just a slightly more spiffy version of the HD that was on Wii U. Maybe they'll... I really do think that they might stealth drop one. I don't think there's just going to be one stealth drop. I'm going to be super optimistic considering it's been so dry of late. But I am optimistic when it comes to that. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not. I do think we'll get one stealth drop. It'll probably end up being like a Metroid or something. And then they'll announce the Ocarina of Time remaster remake for the holiday season, and then they'll say, and then HD remaster remake, the remaster of the HD remake of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for next spring or summer or something.
A different new experience or a lot of new content. I'm just not really interested. I don't want to spend the money on it. You know, just one example, Super Mario RPG. Like, it's beautiful and it's amazing and it's a great game, but it's so incredibly faithful that a person who has already played Super Mario RPG a bunch of times, already owns it, might just be like, yeah, I don't know, maybe someday if it's on sale, but
I bought Super Mario RPG day one, and my buddy Brian comment, he's like, man, how many times have you played through Super Mario RPG? Because I had more hours on it than I did on Breath of the Wild, and he had already previously commented, how do you play it so much and have two jobs? I don't have a girlfriend, or at least I didn't at the time.
This is going to be different. This is going to be enough of a remake. It's going to look amazing enough that it's going to be kind of a no-brainer for even people who own Ocarina of Time, even people who have played it about 100,000 times. It's not going to feel like a safe, less ambitious remake. It's going to feel like a full-blown Zelda project. Obviously not quite something on the scope of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, but still a very satisfying and impressive project. And yeah, that'll be the last really big announcement. That'll be the show closer, the big holiday game. And overall, really, like, whatever happens, you know, like, for a moment, let's step away from my own predictions. The real thing I want to predict.
That's another thing. I'm hoping they announce Star Fox Adventures or something to this effect for their GameCube to Nintendo Online. Something to that effect. Just another game or two. Hopefully Eternal Darkness. If they do Eternal Darkness, the second I get the money, I'm going to get a Switch 2 and play Eternal Darkness online.
I think it's going to be a good show.
Well, on stream.
This really is me going out on a limb because, like, it's one thing to predict what Nintendo will do.
I don't know how they would do it
based on what it kind of feels like they
for
need
online,
to do
but
at any given time. Again, like, this is a direct where they kind of need to deliver. But I've usually got, like, I don't know, it's the wind. There's, like, this little teeny tiny voice inside of me, this little tiny tickle that every once in a while speaks to me. Every once in a while, I'll just get this little feeling. And it's usually one way or the other. It's like, you know what? I think this is going to be a good one. Or it's like, you know what? I feel a stinker coming. I don't know why. I just kind of do. And there's no real rhyme or reason to it, but that is usually correct. It's usually correct. And I don't know why. It's probably just luck up to this point, because obviously I am not psychic, and yet each time I've had one of these.
And that's the main reason I'm more optimistic when they don't have a direct every season or every 6 months or whatever. When it's a little longer, like 9 months, a year, I'm usually more optimistic that they'll have something to fucking say, because they haven't said anything in so long.
Little teeny weeny little inklings. It's been true. And this is dangerous, because all it takes is one time getting this wrong, admitting this. I'm admitting this verbally, that I'm having this feeling. So if it doesn't turn out, then there you go. My streak is broken, and I can no longer trust that little voice. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to let you know. The voice is telling me I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to come away from this one feeling pretty darn good. I think there's going to be some really nice announcements in there. I think overall we're gonna walk away feeling pretty positive about the next, year or something of Nintendo. We're gonna have a lot of big games to talk about, a lot of excitement, not too much controversy, kind of weighing everything down. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one, but we shall see.
I do too. There'll be at least 2, maybe 3 things that I'm personally excited about. I think there'll be a couple of other things that other people are excited about. And then there'll be a sizzle reel with a bunch of shit that I don't care about.
Please give me your hopes and dreams and predictions down in the comments of this video. Give me some wacky predictions. Give me your safe ones. It's always nice to do safe ones, or to dig into the wish list, the stuff that you want to see. Give me some wild swings too, Give me something wacky, but it's got to be realistic though. It's got it's that balance of wacky, but still plausible enough, Something like.
I think there will be. See, I don't know. I was gonna say something different, but then I realized that I'm stupid. Since they already did a Mario Kart, I was really hoping instead of a Mario Kart World, we got a Nintendo Kart. To where it was just everybody, all the Nintendo characters, like the Sonic ones. But I don't know. What's one game that you guys think would be something that will pop up here in a couple hours when they do this? I know I'm doing it right before, but I really do think we'll get probably 2 Zelda announcements, maybe a Mario tease for next year. The Zelda one, I think one will be holiday. One will either be a stealth drop or something to look forward to for next year. And I think it makes more sense for Mario to be next year's holiday game. And them to announce either, like I said, a stealth drop Zelda or something for early to mid next year. But then again, that feels more like a fall Nintendo Direct type announcement. But
Golden Sun remake, something along those lines.
Oh God, Golden
Even
Sun.
though they should never remake Golden Sun, because you cannot ever beat those pixel graphics. They are too beautiful. Although, now that I think about it, what if they remade Golden Sun, but in the same way that they did Super Mario RPG remake? Where it's it's still kind of like the 3D sprites, except before you converted them into pixels. That could be good.
And part of me kind of wants them to re-release Kid Icarus, the 3DS one. But they use the mouse function of the Joy-Con to mimic using the stylus for the 3DS version. That would be sick. I'm not gonna lie, that would be Kid Icarus. But I don't know. I think there's some real possibilities here. My enjoyment of it will be whether or not it's backwards compatible to the Switch 1. I need to get it too eventually. I'll probably get one tax time, hopefully sooner. Actually, hopefully before the price hike, because they are supposed to get one in September. I think it's going to go up to $550 for just a base Switch 2 model. Oh god, it's really gonna suck if they announce an Ocarina of Time, a really cool looking Ocarina of Time Switch 2 model, and it's after the price hike. That would just kill me. I probably wouldn't be able to get it anyway, but you know, you can dream. But anyway, guys, that's all for today. Tomorrow I'll mostly be giddy about the Direct, and then we'll see what else news-wise happens. Depending on how big the announcement is today, tomorrow might just be all about the Nintendo Direct, or I might actually talk about things today. I know the Carmelo Anthony situation is supposed to finish today. They're going to have closing arguments and then the deliberation. So that's today as well at the exact same time as the Nintendo Direct. So you can guess which one I'm watching. That's right. Nintendo Direct. But that's it for me, guys. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Enjoy the Direct today. Everyone, be safe out there. It's going to be crazy times. But yeah, that Nintendo Direct is in just about 2 hours. So enjoy. Make sure you comment back here unless you have me on X. Let me know what you think. Let me know what surprised you, what disappointed you, and anything in between. Till then, I've been